Good morning. Saturday, beautiful, balmy, -31. Actually, I don't know. Today I want to talk about the other end of the leash. It was actually a concept that I read in a book. I honestly can't remember who wrote it, but it is a book called The Other End of the Leash. But it's a very good premise of considering how the perspective from the other end of the leash, so from your dog's perspective. So what it enables or enabled me to do was be a lot more empathetic. At the time I read the book, I simply trained differently than I do today. It was probably 7, 8 years ago when I read the book. I just didn't have a real good understanding of how, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Sentient dogs really were, how much they felt, how much things affected them, such as tone, body language, how you carried yourself. So at that point in my life, I was just of the old kind of compulsion-based premise of dominance and showing the dog who's boss and all that other bullshit that's associated with it. I just didn't know any better, I guess. So the other end of the leash really started a conversation within my head of considering more about what the dog was going through and what I was doing with the dog and how it was affecting the dog. So then I started to really view things from a different standpoint, outside of just my own head. Because that's really, people get stuck in their own head and they start to forget about how some other entity, whether it's a person or an animal, actually feels about the interaction. So I just want you guys all to consider, and this can once again be in your general life or specifically with your dog, is that how is my behavior affecting my dog? Now you can think about this in positive ways and say, well, my dog really enjoys it when I'm excited, when I offer it affection, when I call it over. Or you can think about the ways where things are challenging for you. Um, I'm trying to teach my dog to walk on a loose leash and it's driving me insane and I'm gonna kook. Then at that point you can start to be like, well, how does this affect the dog? Lots of times, for instance, with that same example, people give the dog like literally 3/4 of a foot to move, and then the dog obviously is gonna pull because it's only got like this much room of a leash, and the dog and you are on different patterns of how you walk. The dog just might have a different stride than you, and you're going to conflict simply because you haven't given it any leash to actually slow down or speed up with you. So you get stuck in this constant battle of wills, which is really just the dog shutting down because it has no idea what you want because you're not clear. So in that sense, it would just give you some insight. Instead of getting frustrated and leash popping the dog 47 times, is to stop and think like, well, how is what I'm doing affecting the dog? Can the dog understand what I want? And if you keep doing the same thing over and over and it's not working, then the answer is no, it doesn't know what you want. Or it's not ready to, consider the information that you're offering. Maybe there's some more fundamental training that needs to happen, or maybe it's just the wrong thing to do. And this can work in the same way with other things, like, in any event. I'm going to leave it at that. You can consider that reality of and perspective of the other end of the leash. How does my behavior affect what my dog does or this person? And then get out of your head and pretend you're in the opposite position and you're trying to learn or experience or connect with you, with yourself. And what would that look like? Would it be easy to understand? I don't know.